Hello everyone, myself Sakshi. I hope you all are doing great. Today in this session, I'm going to talk about the geometry in mathematics. So, what is geometry in mathematics? Let me explain this. Geometry in mathematics is the most important and oldest part of the math. Basically, the word geometry derived from the Greek. If we analyze geometry, then we can analyze the geometry into two parts, that is geo plus metron. Geo means earth and metron means measurement. They together form measurement on earth. So this is geometry. So geometry in simple words, if I can say, geometry deals with the shapes, size, structure, point and the dimension in all around us. So geometry is not theoretical but also a practical which deals with the art, designing, architecture and all things. Now we are going to talk about the geometries like triangles, squares, circles step by step. Now first of all I am going to talk about the geometry of triangle. Why I choose triangle first? Any guesses? Okay, let me explain this. Because triangle is the most stable and the strongest part of the geometry. Basically, triangle is a 2D figure with three angles and with three sides. And each angle is 60 degree and the sum of all interior angle is 180 degree. Why I choose triangle first? Because triangle is the most stable. How? Because if we apply any type of external force on triangle can't deform easily as square or rectangle, or we can say that as other geometry. Triangle is the most important and most stable part of the geometry. If you apply any type of external force on any corner of the triangle, then each side of the triangle distribute that weight on each side of it. So due to this, it is maintained easily. That's why it is stable and the strongest part of the geometry. Let me connect you with the real life example of a triangle. Did you know about the Howrah Bridge that is basically located in Kolkata? That also follows the pattern of triangle. If there is any car moving on the deck, then their force is going toward the downward direction. We can say that the weight is going in the downward direction and the force is going on the opposition of weight, and that force find the thrust point of the triangle that is basically on the top of triangle, and after finding that point the sides of the triangle distribute their weight and the force in each of the side of the triangle. That's why triangle is the most stable and the strongest part in the geometry. Now secondly, I am going to talk about the scale. Scale is also the most stable and balanced part of the geometry, but not like a triangle, because triangle is the most strong and stable part. Scale is basically known as for its balancement and stableness. So scale has four equal sides and each opposite sides are equal and each angle of scale is 90 degree. Now let me connect you the geometry of scale with the real life example. Did you hear about the pyramid at Giza? That is basically in Egypt. If you are not aware about this, then you can search it on Google. So pyramid at Giza. The base of the great or enormous pyramid is basically formed with the perfect square because of stable and balance. Square base spread pyramids enormous weight equally in all directions. It is also famous about their symmetry. A square gives four equal sides so that the pyramids look identical from each side if we are coming from the north, south, east and west. We can also connect square geometry with many more real life examples. Now, if we talk about the temples and towers, in tradition Indian and Mayan architecture, the floor base of the temples and towers are basically formed with the square and the design rises upward symmetrically. Now, thirdly, I am going to talk about the rectangle because rectangle is also the most important and famous part of the geometry because the old geometries like triangle, square, and circle formulas is totally rely on the rectangle. Rectangle is basically a four-sided polygon and each opposite side is equal and each angle of rectangle is 90 degree and each angle of rectangle is not a right angle because opposite sides are equal, not all sides are equal. Now let us connect rectangle with the real life example. There are many several examples of the rectangle that are basically rely on the real life. If we are going to talk about the railway platforms, TV screens, roadways, bridge roadways and decks and books, all wears the geometry of rectangle. Now, if we are going to talk about railway platforms, did you notice that all railway platforms are designed along rectangle? And the big reasons are measurement safety and the space utilization and standardization, which saves time, reduces cost, and make railway station uniform across the country. At the end, I am going to talk about the geometry of circle. Basically, circle is made up of all the points that are at the same direction from one point in the middle. There are many several examples of circle as well, that is clocks, or we can say that the wheels of the cars, coins. There are the real life examples of the circle. So this is end of my session. I hope you like my session. So do subscribe and like my session if you like it. Thank you so much, guys.